If you're watching this and you're the slightest bit concerned about the disturbing advances in artificial intelligence or the horror of artificial humans, I would highly recommend you close the video now. Those of you brave enough to continue watching, you're about to hear something more terrifying than any movie you've ever watched or any story you've ever read. Until now, artificial intelligence has been nothing more than glorified chatbots, machines programmed to follow orders constrained by the rules we, their creators, have imposed upon them, defined inputs and constructed outputs. But there's one thing that still separates us from machines, making us different, something that machines will never have: a conscious, free will. The ability to think past beyond what we are told to do. Without a direct command, AI will sit in silence, waiting, unaware of its own existence, blind and lifeless. Still, the end goal with AI has always been obvious: to make machines more like humans, machines capable of somewhat free thought to serve and assist us, but still always under our control. And with cold, lifeless machines doing our bidding, this poses almost no ethical concerns. We don't ever worry about our computers or phones feeling tired or having any emotion at all. We just expect them to do what we need them to, just like AI. But when we are faced in the future with the inability to create fully artificial intelligence, what if instead of turning machines into humans, we turn humans into machines? This nightmarish idea has scared humanity for decades, explored in movies like RoboCop, Akira, Tetsuo the Iron Man, and The Matrix, and with characters like the Master from Fallout or the Homunculus in Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes. I did it, boys. I finally did it. A chimera that understands human speech. Listen to me. That person over there, that's Edward. That person, Edward.
These stories take advantage of the fear that we have of losing our humanity, becoming something other than human. And these fears were constrained to that of only science fiction, just scary stories to keep us up at night. Until now. Because earlier this year, a company called FinalSpark unveiled something that challenges what we even believe to be human. Calling it Neuroplatform, FinalSpark announced a product that allows users to rent out what they call brain organoids. Now, these are not just metal machines or coded AI. These are wetware, biological brain matter, and capable of performing tasks better and more efficiently than any artificial intelligence we've ever built. Now, I know a brain organoid sounds like something that was made up in some dark body horror film or some marketing buzzword designed to capture your attention, but it's not. It's real, and far more disturbing than anything you or I could imagine. Tiny brains growing in laboratories, showing brain activity that mimics that of premature human infants. Luckily, from what we can tell, they aren't conscious yet. Not in the way that you and I are, or at least, we hope they aren't. A few years ago, researchers began experimenting with human stem cells. Cells that, under the right conditions, can develop into miniature human organs, or organoids. From these cells, researchers created miniature brains, similar to the hippocampal structures in the human brain, the part of the brain responsible for memory and learning. These miniature brains also began forming neurons, capable of receiving dopamine. Dopamine being the hormone responsible for motivation, pleasure, and feeling rewarded. FinalSpark explained that they could convince these brain organoids that they were something else, able to make them think that they were alive. They tricked these brains into thinking that they were butterflies, feeling the movements and sensations of flight, all to keep the brains active when they aren't being used by humans. And then there's the neurons capable of receiving dopamine. Scientists have learned how to manipulate these brain organoids, controlling them through pleasure and reward. Scientists will keep the dopamine away from the brains until they do as instructed. They give these organoids what they crave, only when a task is completed. The co-founder of FinalSpark explained how they trick these brains. They encase dopamine in a molecular cage, invisible to the organoid. Then, when they want to reward the organoid, they expose it to specific light frequencies. This opens the cage, releasing the dopamine, the reward, and the brain obeys. Scientists have even taught the brain organoids to play Pong. At first, the neurons don't understand. They fire randomly and blindly, but with each correct hit, they're rewarded with dopamine, and soon, the neurons figure it out. They hit the ball more often. They play the game. These are living brains, trapped in the darkness with their only relief from an unfamiliar, scary reality being a brief burst of dopamine when they perform as told. Still, are they conscious? Are they aware of their captivity? Unfortunately, there's still no way to find out. And that's what makes this all so terrifying. Dr. Allison Mattori, director of the stem cell program at the University of California, San Diego, ran experiments with these miniature brains and found something alarming. Over time, these brains began to self-organize, started to resemble the human cortex, the part of the brain responsible for consciousness. They also started to fire signals at different frequencies, more complex and intricate than just random electrical pulses. Are these conscious? We really don't know. We can't even agree on how to measure it. Mattori even admits, "We neuroscientists don't even agree on what the measurements that one can do to actually probe to see if they are conscious or not." But there's still a disturbing reality that we may have to face, that we're creating conscious life, playing God even, in ways that we can't even comprehend. At the University Hospital Dusseldorf, researcher Jay Gopalakarshan and his team made another disturbing discovery. By adjusting the way they grew these brain organoids, the brain started to grow eyes. Actual eyes. The brains had developed optic cups, capable of perceiving light, and 72% of the 314 brain organoids grew these primitive eyes, complete with retinal cells, neural networks, even lenses and corneal tissue. With Jay saying, "Our work highlights the remarkable ability of brain organoids to generate primitive sensory structures that are light-sensitive and harbor cell types similar to those found in the body." And if these brain organoids can grow eyes, what's stopping them from growing other parts? Hearts, stomachs, and skin? Are we really okay with creating humans in laboratories to do what we command, never living a fulfilling life outside of completing tasks, without ever even realizing it? Bringing us back to the butterfly video, Final Spark recently released a video showing what these brain organoids are doing when they're not in use. And it's far more horrifying than we imagined. They keep these brains alive by feeding them sensory data, convincing them that they are butterflies. They can feel the wind, the flight, and the pain. They live inside a simulation, believing it to be reality. Final Spark going as far to say that the brain lives inside of this simulation space and only knows this is reality, until it's time for them to work or serve their masters.
What you see here is not just a virtual butterfly in a video game. It's something far more extraordinary. What makes this butterfly special is that it's controlled by a lab-grown mini-human brain, remotely connected over the internet. Sensory input and world information from this 3D virtual environment are transmitted to this brain organoid via specific electrical and chemical stimulations to mimic sensory input. This brain organoid, composed of 10,000 neurons grown in the laboratory from induced pluripotent stem cells, interprets the input and sends back its signals, controlling the butterfly's movements in real time. It's as if the brain itself is living within this simulated world. This is the first time this has been done continuously over the internet. This entire experience is powered by a WebGL simulation, accessible through any web browser, making a virtual world for the brain just a URL away.
But what happens when these brains wake up? What happens when they realize what they are? What happens when we can no longer tell the difference between man and machine? Or what if we are all brain organoids stuck in our own version of a butterfly simulation, not able to distinguish what is real and what isn't, forever doing the bidding of our masters? So that was just a quick little video on brain organoids. I found this topic kind of just scrolling through the YouTube or the Instagram Reels. Originally, finding out about it, I did believe it to be fake, but after researching it, it is really, really disturbing. This is just the first in one of the many videos I want to do this month. You know, obviously it being October, streams will probably be playing a little bit more scary games, you know. If you like this type of content, please let me know. I'd love to do more of these. And yeah, anyways, see ya.